Have you ever heard the story of Wichita's very own serial killer, BTK? Serial homicides make up no more than 2% of the population of murders committed in the U.S. Last semester, I took a class called Serial Killers at Wichita State and learned a lot about BTK. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how BTK became a serial killer. The first point I'm going to cover is the man behind the name of BTK. The second point is about how he escalated into becoming a serial killer. And the third is about how he was eventually caught. The man behind the name of BTK was Dennis Rader. He was a seemingly average man and blended in with society, happily married with 2 children, working for the Coleman Company, which was an outdoor supply company, then the ADT Security Services, installing alarms, and then he became a dog catcher and then a compliance officer in Park City. Neighbors though recall him as sometimes being overzealous and extremely strict, according to an interview with his neighbors B and T. Lindsay, found on foxnews.com. Now that I've told you about who Dennis Rader was, I want to tell you about how he became BTK. He first murdered in the beginning of 1974 and ended in 1991. The Otero family, being the first of his victims, was 2 parents and 2 of their 4 children. He then moved to only murdering women, leaving Mr. Otero and his son to be his only male victims. He then resulted in 10 victims. Particularly known for sending taunting letters to the police and newspapers, Rader first sent a letter in October of 1974 and signed it BTK. This stood for Bind, Torture, and Kill, which was his modus operandi. Now that I have told you about how Rader became BTK, I want to talk to you about how he was caught. In 2004, Rader began a series of 11 communications to the local media that led directly to his arrest in 2005. He started with letters containing sketches and poems with details of specific BTK murders. He left cereal boxes around Wichita containing dolls and cryptic messages. A cereal box left in the Home Depot parking lot could be seen being dropped off in a black Jeep Cherokee. His last letter asked police if his writings were to be traced if put on a floppy disk. So then Rader sent a floppy disk to one of the Fox TV affiliates, KSAS TV, and the metadata embedded on the deleted Microsoft Word document put on the floppy disk was contained Christ Lutheran Church and was marked as last modified by Dennis. The only Dennis that was a member of the Christ Lutheran Church was Dennis Rader. More evidence was needed for an arrest, so a DNA sample was taken from Rader's daughter and matched to the DNA taken from the victim's fingernails. Rader was then arrested in 2005 on February 8th, charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder, and is currently serving life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 175 years. I talked about 3 points that described the history of BTK, serial killer. The first was about the man behind the name of BTK. The second was how he escalated into becoming a serial killer, and the third was how he was eventually caught. Serial killers have always been and continue to be a popular and interesting study.